When do we repent? When do we change? When do we correct? When do we rectify? When you see the angel of death, you would want to go back and you would not be granted access to going back. What is it that we don't understand about Al-Akhirah? I ask myself, first and foremost, for my own sins and shortcomings, and then I proceed to ask you, what is it that we don't understand about the reality of the dunya versus the akhirah? What is it that we don't understand that Allah has created a fire wherein He will punish the wrongdoers, and that includes Muslims? What part of that has not yet registered? What part of that has not yet been understood in terms of your obligations, in terms of what is it that is incumbent on you as a Muslim? What part of establishing Tawheed do you not understand? What part of dedicating your life to learning the names and attributes of Allah do you not understand? What part of you dedicating your worship to Allah alone without associating anyone with Allah or calling on anyone with Allah or seeking intermediaries with Allah, what part of that do you not understand? What part? And what part of the rights of the parents and being dutiful to them, which is the very second right after the right of Allah being worshipped alone, do you not understand? What part of that do you not understand? Because that is the determining factor on whether you will end up in Jannah or Jahannam. Ya Muharrij. What part of that has not yet registered? What does it take? What does it take for things to click in your brain? All of you undutiful people. Either to Allah you're undutiful or you're undutiful to your parents. I'm talking basics of Islam, ikhwan. I'm not telling you to become the faqih of the ummah or Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah of the, whatever century we're in. I'm asking you to apply fundamental basics of Islam. Tawheed, applying the Sharia, being dutiful to your parents, and not wronging the creation of Allah. That's really what it is. That's what it boils down to. Doing the 5 pillars of Islam as a bare minimum. Following the way of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Because what is at stake is, if we don't fulfill those basic fundamental rights, is burning in hell. And that description Allah gave to those people who will be humbled in humiliation and looking with the side of their eye at Jahannam out of fear, wherein they will burn in it, immersed in it, burning every single body part, including their faces and their internal organs, on and on and on and on. لا يفتر عنهم, and it will not be reduced. And they will call on. They will say, قالوا يا مالك. They will say, oh Malik, which is the guardian of Jahannam. فَلْيَقْضِ عَلَيْنَا رَبُّكَ. Let your Lord destroy us, perish us. He will reply, according to some of the hadith, Allah knows how many years later. قَالَ إِنَّكُمْ مَاكِثُونَ. Say, you will stay. You're staying. You're not going anywhere. That's what it is. So are you going to be a good Muslim from now on, or are you going to be a clown like you've been all these years? What is it going to be? When do we repent? When do we change? When do we correct? When do we rectify? When you see the angel of death, you would want to go back and you would not be granted access to going back. Therefore, ikhwan, take the matter seriously and act accordingly and establish tawheed in your life and strengthen your relationship with Allah by learning who Allah is. And when you know that Allah is the forgiving, then you will worship Allah according to His trait of being the Ghaffar, the most forgiving. And you will never despair from the mercy of Allah, because you know that Allah does not want you to despair from His mercy. even for the sinful Muslim who is upon Tawheed, he has a better condition and a better state to get back on track than the ignorant Muslim who is also sinful, who the shaitan will be able to deceive by making him lose hope in Allah's mercy, or assume that Allah will not forgive him, or that Allah will not show mercy to him, and that he will go further astray. So even the sinful believer upon Tawheed, his Tawheed will guide him within his sinfulness. Whereas the mushrik, no matter how much he believes he's righteous and upright and well-mannered, his shirk will destroy him in the dunya and the akhirah. And you have callers to Islam today telling you calling on Jesus is not necessarily shirk unless you believe Jesus is able or has the characteristics of Allah, or unless you're attributing divinity to Jesus. The most ludicrous thing you could ever say.